A lot of talk these days about resilience, but let's talk about what it is, especially when it comes to our workplaces. So the resilience is defined as individuals' ability to bounce back from adversity. And of course, you can see how that can be beneficial, whether in your personal or professional life. And it's really just encompasses our ability to emerge from struggle without any kind of significant impact. It's really looking to find that positive side of things, that silver lining and an opportunity in any challenge that might come up. And of course, there's different impacts that resilience has for organizations, people, managers, and individuals. So on one aspect, resilience, being able to be resilient will actually drive innovation and creativity in organizations, because it will drive us to come up with innovative solutions, perhaps to overcome specific challenges. It also protects and maintains that productivity, well-being, and social connections within teams. And finally, of course, it has effects on team members, because if we're growing together, if we're overcoming challenges together, that again adds to that productivity, that social connection, and being part of something bigger than ourselves. And finally, there's, of course, we need to consider that there's two responsible parties here. So one, of course, as an individual, there are some things that you can do to build that resilience. And then there is a people manager. There are some things that you can do. On the individual side, resilience really comes down to regulating our emotions when bad things happen. And that really just relates to how do we manage our energy? How do we use the resource of our time to our best advantage? And it's as simple as just, equipping ourselves with tools that help us become more resilient and be able to manage our energy better, such as just basics of taking care of ourselves, right? It's working on our mindset. It's, again, looking to reframe situations into something that could be an opportunity in disguise. It's also about how compassionate we are towards ourselves. So are we actually kind with ourselves? Hi guys, Elena here from Bestern. If you're enjoying this episode, please make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on weekly new videos that we have coming out on personal and professional development topics. Also, feel free to send your questions and engage with us and comment in the YouTube videos in the comment section below. Now back to the episode. I'll give you an example. I heard something the other day. Somebody was saying, I think it was an actor, he was saying, if I were to talk to my friends the way I talk to myself when I make a mistake, he said, I would have no friends. So just the self-talk, the self-compassion, we really need to be mindful of when we make a mistake, when something bad happens, whatever it may be, to not talk down to ourselves, to talk to ourselves as if we would to a friend. And surprisingly, you'll see a big impact, because the way we talk to ourselves is way harsher than anything we would ever say to another person. It's also about learning agility. So essentially looking at what can you learn through this process, through whatever challenge that came your way. Essentially, it's our ability to adapt, to process information in a way that is beneficial for us for the future. So really just taking a moment to learn from that experience. Because at the end of the day, that also adds that flexibility, right? It's just that continuous level of improvement. So we want to continuously improve. All of that essentially builds resilience. And now onto people's manager. What can we do as a people manager, Ivan, to build resilience?
Listen, I just got a little bit focused on the story that you were saying about the management of energy. So, because this is something that is quite important for as human beings, is that we always believe that time is our most precious treasure. But in reality, it is about how much are we using or managing our energy. Are we overusing it? Are we underusing it? When we are overusing it, we need some time to recharge. And by managing the times of recharge after a stressful effort, we have the capacity to recover, to recharge our energy. Underusing our energy makes us a little bit unmotivated. It's like it's not challenging enough. So it's when we master this idea of balancing our energy in the right path, this is where our resilience is at the optimum. So now let's get back to the question that you asked me, Elena. I haven't forgotten. It's about what can we do as people's manager. So first of all, it has to do with a lot with empathy, checking in with our teams, asking our employees at least weekly, what are you working on and how can I help you? You mentioned it, it's about this feeling of doing something for the team, for the group, the sense of belonging that is so important in human needs. The other part is about understanding, having a certain level of awareness of what is quite unique about our teams, the needs, the challenges, and according to the context, not only in the static, calm times, but also in the moments of crisis, how they do react, knowing them, a lot of awareness about how we interact between us and the rest of the team. The other part is that we understand that the workforce is a key stakeholder in order to securing business continuity. But we need to be able and balance how they react, in fact, in terms of the human specific needs and in terms of the business reality. And one example that comes because of the recent event is that during the COVID crisis, some of the business could quickly shift, in fact, to remote work model, were able to facilitate business and workforce continuity in a more seamless manner. The other point that is quite good is about creating this sense of trust, communicating transparently and authentically is what develops this sense of trust. And what we know, in fact, out of science is that the oxytocin that is this molecule that has been identified with trust is like a quite important driver in terms of productivity and feeling safe in an environment, so that there is more creativity, there is more productivity at work. Evaluating, growing, and destigmatizing the use of well-being benefits. So having the accessibility for your workforce in order that they can balance their mental health, they can balance their well-being. So having programs that are embedded in their work, and it's not just a one-off, it is something that is recurrent. Imagine, Elena, if you go and you take 5 days of holidays, that will not affect your well-being. It needs to be this balance of energy that I was telling you about. Is about doing these small mini breaks just to recharge, because it is how much we use our energy that is going to create this sense of stress, especially the bad stress, because stress is positive in order to create productivity and is something that makes us empowered and we feel it's really good. But if we don't have the time to recharge, then nothing else can happen. So as a manager, creating empathy, transparency, this feeling of trust with the teams is something that is going to encourage finally developing the resilience of your team, right?